You need to find this place or we'll be late.
Make a left on Astrology Avenue. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right. It should be right here at 444 Thruway. Oh, turn!
It looks like Renee. Yay, we're on time. The James and Kelly Show.
Great, let's start the show.
I'm just writing down about eclipses.
Oh, we're going to talk a lot about that tonight. It's going to be so fun.
Mercury retrograde.
We've got a lot of just dandy things coming up. I look forward to. That's right. Oh my gosh.
I'm trying to get used to this. I still haven't shaved.
Okay, I told you, our dear friend Lee thinks you look 30 years younger. Hi,
That's
Lee.
the most I've heard. I've heard 10 years. Hi, Lee. Thank you, Lee. I think, yes. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Did you have a good weekend?
I did. I got drunk.
Okay. Stop right now.
But I don't think I got drunk. I think I had 2 beers and a shot of tequila. So that's not really drunk.
Okay.
I relaxed because it was sunshine for the first time. And I just sat with my roommate. We had a beer and a shot of tequila.
That's one of my favorite things to do. How fun.
And I guess it's not drunk, but at my age, one until you. I could walk, but
totally.
No, I got very relaxed. And that was it. Watched some shows and was writing. So we do some.
Oh, gosh.
And how was your weekend, Kelly?
Okay, it was very relaxing. It's so funny. I made myself a martini, but I just didn't feel like drinking it.
Yeah, I know that one. I've stopped drinking I stopped drinking about 2 months now.
I was like,
that's why it was a big deal of a shot.
No, seriously. I just kind of put it down. I said, just doesn't interest me.
I do that with food too. I eat like a little bit, a half, and I'm like, oh, it's getting older or what? But yeah.
No, me too, James. It's the same thing. Same thing.
I said, damn this thing.
Damn this thing. I did see, though, I wanted to tell you and everybody, I saw a wonderful documentary short, and it won the Oscar for documentary short.
I've heard about it. The Repair Shop?
The Last Repair Shop.
Yes.
It's so moving. It's so good because, I'm married to a musician. My father was a musician. My little brother Theo's a musician. Everybody I know is a musician. And it's so wonderful because it's all about Los Angeles, the school district in Los Angeles, and how they have the Last Repair Shop that fixes all the instruments for all of these wonderful students that play that can't afford to have their instruments repaired, And then it goes into the each person that does it. And their stories, James, it'll warm your heart. It's so good.
Yeah, the third person to tell me about that. I tried watching. I couldn't find it on my
YouTube. We found it accidentally. YouTube.
Because there's a series also, The Repair Shop or Let's Repair. There's a television series. So I saw that. But yeah, so I've heard several people. And he tells you the history of the instrument too, which was really interesting.
Yeah.
One guy was how he learned to listen, hearing, because he had to play an instrument. He learned how to play, and he had to listen to music, and that's how he developed a great sense of hearing in the regular world, because he had to be very disciplined about hearing music. That was one of the stories. Yeah.
Wow. We'll have to watch all of those.
He was playing a flute.
Oh, gosh. I love stuff. I love when documentaries move us. Don't you love that?
And then there's another series I told Kelly about, which I think it's been on for a while, but I just watched it, Louder Milk, which is very funny.
Okay, I can't wait to see that.
Pretty good. About 12-step program, a guy who has a group. He's a leader, and all the characters that are in there, and how life happens. And it's one of the funniest things I've seen since Seinfeld. So.
Oh my gosh! Okay, that's the buzzword,
and you'll love it.
I cannot wait.
Hey, Robert, and Limitless. Good evening, Mark.
Hi, Lori Counts. Hi, Margaret.
Hi, Margaret. Flower Moon. Did Flower Moon win anything, Kelly? I didn't see the Oscars.
I don't think I watched it. I don't think it did. I'll tell you, Oppenheimer won everything. Won a lot.
I've got to see that.
Poor Things did too, but Oppenheimer, I think you would really like.
Wow. And Maestro, nothing.
0.
Wow. I thought Bradley Cooper.
I was surprised.
Bradley Cooper didn't get something.
Me too. And the leading lady was so great in that too. Yeah.
I'm also watching a TV show I started watching, which is kind of Not great, but it's interesting. All of Us, it was on for a long time.
Oh,
2016
it
was
was
the
wonderful. Yeah,
wonderful
you just
show.
started it.
Yeah, I'm on the second season, and I have to fast forward it because I'm getting really tired of the storyline with
Yeah,
the black guy and his father, and it's like let's drag that
yeah,
out another season, and
yeah,
I just can't do
yeah,
it. But
yeah.
it's interesting. I like the characters, and Kevin is beautiful, so I love watching Kevin.
He's,
The Manny guy,
you're the-
he's adorable, so he helps me to get through each.
I think he has another heads up. He has another show that's on now. I think so.
Married 3 times,
Oh, okay. You did some research.
of course. It's every show I ever watch or movie, I always have to research. Like when I'm watching, oh, there's that actor. Oh, when did they film this, or where did they direct it?
It's fun to find out now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Wow. Look, we have somebody from Malaysia, Esha Didi at
Wow.
Hi. Hi. Oh my gosh. And Slobanka from Melbourne.
Wow,
Hi.
welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Okay, wait. And Margaret, you're watching The Feud with Truman Capote versus the Swans. So am I. And there's only one episode left, and it's phenomenal. It's good, James. It is a good one. Lori Rude says, yes, Loudermouth had some truths.
Oh, it's great. My favorite, I think I told Kelly's, but there's a scene where it's in Seattle, takes place in Seattle, and he goes to a coffee house and asks for coffee, and the girl behind the counter said, do you want some extra space in there for some cream? And the guy goes, you don't really speak like that. You just, I don't understand. And he goes, you don't really speak like that. And she goes, you're an asshole. And he goes, that's what you speak like. Now
Okay. For sure, I'm watching this.
Asshole.
Yeah.
And it's great. No, it's so great. So well written, so well done, so well acted. I'm really impressed with it. It's been 3 seasons, and they're wondering what to do with it now because I guess the production company stopped, and now they're trying to find a home for it. But they will.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Anyway, that's what I did, and I've been writing, finally trying to get your forward done, which is, as you know, been some really interesting things have been coming. We had
the most amazing conversation that you and I did yesterday about what you were thinking about, what the things that just came through to you, the soul essence and the soul essence. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah, the soul essence. It's should I read a little bit?
You should, because it ties into the astrology of the eclipses, actually.
Okay.
With soul purpose.
Because I'm into it, so I just had to stop while I was getting the show. The essence, I'm just going to real quickly. The essence or power is individual. So talk about the essence of the soul that we come back in each lifetime, and you have the all these. Well, let me just go on here. The essence of the power or power is individualistic to that soul, such like a fingerprint. These special and specific facets are incorporated into your essence through every lifetime training and experience we've ever had since the beginning of our existence. Each time we come back to Earth School, we are supplied with a soul toolkit, which is made up of very spiritual insight, solution, and strength we'll need to successfully fulfill our mission on Earth. For example, a mother who loses a child or 7 children, or someone who appears to have one tragedy follow another, must have in their makeup a spiritual superpower completely individualized and targeted to accomplish those specific lessons. We never come ill-prepared, but we have to be willing to open up to a relationship from the inside out and not the outside in to fully utilize them.
I love that. The individual essence of everybody that comes in with the ability. It totally makes sense. The ability to work through a situation.
Because like you in the astrology, when they're born at that specific second.
It's that specific.
And that is, we just don't come down to it without any superpowers.
No.
We're prepared for our lifetimes. And it's really, really
good.
Yeah,
we do. We do prepare for it. And speaking of that, James, and that's beautiful. I love everything that you're writing about right now. It's amazing to me.
It's a while, but it's good.
Oh, it's so worth it. I love the soul philosophy when we get into it. I just love it. These are my favorite conversations to have, and these are conversations that you and I have.
We do.
They're real conversations, so it's fun to share them with everybody, but it really is. But what I was thinking about when you were reading this is it does go to the astrology that we have coming up, because we are now, as of today, we are in eclipse season. So eclipse season begins 2 weeks before the first eclipse. So the first eclipse is March 25th. And then we have 2-week period. And then we have the second eclipse, which is April 8th. And then the season still lasts 2 more weeks after that. So
Wow.
this eclipse season starts today on March 11th and goes till approximately April 22nd. So
Okay.
it's a big deal. And the reason it's in astrology, the reason eclipses are so important, and here's why. Here's what they signify in astrology. I think the best way to kind of understand it is what you said earlier, James, is we incarnate on earth. We have a soul purpose, or we have a life purpose to fulfill, some sort of a destiny. And if we wander too far off of track here, which, as you know, all of a sudden we find ourselves on this road over here
Yeah.
when we're supposed to be on this road. So what eclipses do is they go like this. Whoop, they push us back on the right road. Now, sometimes that can be unexpectedly, like, believe it or not, James, I had my head injury was a week, 7 days after the big eclipse in the year 2000.
Wow. Wow.
So, or something like, so it can be dramatic,
Yeah.
or sometimes things will play itself out. So eclipses are really important because they keep us on so we don't get off track.
And
Okay.
Kelly, do they happen? Do things happen fast, like suddenly in eclipses?
Yes, it could happen very, very fast, or it could be like, like this. But I will tell you, for most people, it is whoop, all of a sudden, bump, this happens.
But you mentioned earlier that there's also Mercury retrograde in there.
Yeah, on April 1st, Mercury goes retrograde. So that even makes it
Slow things down a little bit.
Yes. I mean, when I tell you the next several weeks is when things ramp up. Okay. So, like the first 2 weeks in March, or the end of February, first 2 weeks in March, that was okay. Now things start to ramp up. Now we start to see some bigger ticket items occur.
So is it a good time to start antidepressant pills?
No. Yeah, it's a good time to start that. I will say this. That's so hilarious. I'll tell you what eclipse season is not good for. It's not good for starting things. So if you're going to start something, probably this is not the time to start something, which means you probably would not start a new job. If it's already started, just know that, you might have some push-pull or feed. Things could go askew for a bit.
But Kelly, just like Mercury retrograde. So if in
Yes.
eclipse season, if you have something already started before eclipse season,
Yeah, of course, that's fine.
Don't
That's
start
fine.
something brand new.
Yeah, I'm talking about brand new. And I'll give you a perfect example. When I started, when Don was on tour, and while he was gone several years ago, this last eclipse was 2005, okay? 2005, 2006. I said, I'm going to redecorate the house while he's gone. That's a good idea. So I find this great decorator, and I'm really excited about it. She comes to the house. She says, we'll do this and this. I give her a $5,000 deposit. I give her my furniture to recover. Never heard from her again.
Wow.
No, when I say never heard from her again,
wow.
Vanished.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and that was literally on that eclipse period of time. So I don't think it's a great time to start anything, but it is a great time to go deep into spirituality. So an excellent time for this. So people will feel a little anxious. Perhaps they're going to feel a little anxious, especially if you're an empath. James, people that are empaths feel every energy. It's kind of like a betwixt in between time. You're not sure which way you're going with things. It will level itself out. But the next few weeks, try to be mindful of how you're feeling about everything. And if you feel unsteady, get grounded. Go outside in nature. Sing, dance, do anything that's a creative aspect for you right now.
Yeah. Very good. Our guest tonight is going to talk a little bit about that. So I'm interested we have this. But should we introduce our guest?
Oh, please, please.
So Dinavia Serro is a friend of mine, or she's been on our show before.
Yeah.
And she's an accountability specialist, I'd say. And it's funny because we were talking about we're not sure what to do. I can't tell you how many people I know, and students of mine, regular people, they say, I'm going to do this and I do this, but I didn't get that done, or I didn't accomplish that thing. And time goes by and they look back and say, I feel really bad. I didn't do what I set out to do. And they start beating themselves up. And that's where it's always good to have someone that's accountable to.
So
and,
true.
Dinavia that's one of her many, many specialties. And she'll tell you all about it. And please welcome our good friend, Dinavia Serro.
Yay!
Hi,
Hi,
Dinavia.
Dinavia.
Hi.
And she's
Hello,
so
Kelly.
pretty.
Hello,
She's
James.
so,
Thank
you're
you.
just stunning. You look fabulous, honey.
Oh, thank you, hon. And so do you, and Mr. Handsome as well.
Yeah. And you were, when were you on last? You were on like a couple of years ago, I think,
I
right?
think, yeah, has it been that
Maybe.
long?
Might have
Wow.
been. Might have been.
Time flew.
Might have
Yeah.
been. So,
Mm.
everyone's saying hello and welcome.
Hello,
Yes.
hello.
Yes. And Margaret, remember from last time. Yes. Lauren McClare.
Wonderful.
So, Dinavia, explain to everybody what your specialty is, what your specialties are. You're like a treasure chest. You have so many things going on, but
Yeah,
maybe a couple of nice morsels coming out from you, please.
right on, right on. As we all are, we're all multifaceted. I happen to have a multi-dimensional aspect to how I how I approach things with clients. And I'm an author. I'm a transformational coach. I'm an accountability specialist. I'm Dinavia.
I
You
want
know,
many things.
no, but they're all, all joking aside, these are all gifts that have been given to me and they go through me, and I'm able to, assist many people with these gifts. And firstly, I assist myself mostly, and then I'm able to convey that and extend that to others because it goes through me.
Yes,
So,
Nabi, when you say that, and I mean it's different for each person, of course. So
right.
when you're sitting with someone, and I don't know if they tell you first of all what their situation is, or do you suddenly sit with them and immediately kind of get a feel that you know what's going on here? 'Cause I know you, but tell me about that.
Okay, so of course, someone is going to present themselves, and we get introduced to everyone's energy first
Yeah,
before they
Yeah,
even
so
walk into the
true.
door.
yeah.
So I think the number is, and forgive me if I'm incorrect, but 90% of communication is nonverbal. And that means it's energy, it's quantum, it's there. So you're already meeting that energy and you're calibrating to it. And I have an ability to calibrate
You do.
to whatever energy is in front of me or in the room. It's feeling the energy and knowing how to proceed forward with it in timing, response, the adequate responses, and what is needed in that moment.
And when someone comes to you and say something to you, like this is just an example of that there's someone going in the situation, or they want a new job, they can't get another job, they want a new work, but you're picking up on something completely different, or that the reason that's one thing going on, but there's really something behind that.
That's exactly right. So the subject might be the job. They might think
Right.
it's the job.
Right.
And it is, but it's really something else that is underneath, that is the pathology that has been cultivated so many years within that person. They're just sort of replicating that as they go along with everything, especially when it comes up to something challenging, and having to put forth effort towards something. So, some people may go into doubt and fear, and that, sort of nestles in there and prevents you from meeting your highest and greatest in that moment, or whatever is needed for the circumstance and situation. So to answer your question, I meet them where they are,
Right.
and they tell me why they're there.
Yeah.
And then they start telling me what the situation is and what roadblocks they're hitting and what they want to achieve. And by hearing key words and feeling exactly what is being said, I feel what is being said, we are able to extract from that person through those questions what and how we can approach this in a different way so they can succeed.
And I'm going to say you're energetic intuitive.
Oh, for sure. And
Right?
an empath intuitive.
Empath.
An empath intuitive.
Yeah, definitely. I feel, I mean, like I said, we all have that ability.
You were one
And
of my top students.
well, thank
You
you, my
were. Yeah.
James. Yeah.
Beside everything else, yeah.
Yeah,
But
no, it's, yeah.
you're
And
so
I have to
very
watch too,
humble. You're
because
very humble because you are very intuitive. Like she'll come to my house and I like that person, or that no, that's not you. That's and I appreciate it because it's hard for us to see ourselves. So
no, yeah.
and
And I think we all,
And so do you at this point then, when you're working with somebody, help like discuss the roadblock with them? Like what it is that's blocking them?
yes.
And then how do
yes.
they handle that?
Well, that can fall into a couple of categories. Either we can go into a transformation program, or we can go into an accountability program. And then they would be able to really set up a structure on how to unearth exactly the, what the issue is and how to approach. We know what the issue is, but what we're going to do is sort of unravel or disclose what is really in there that will give you that power to get through these things. And it's just incredible. It's actually, what I call it is, the personal authentic design. And that's how you find out who you are and how you're resonating. And it's a process. So they tell me what it is, and then we say, okay, that's the problem. We put it on the shelf, but we really go in and find out how they are showing up. Like I said, I'll use that term again, pathology. What is their pathology? And they may not know that they're repeating this over and over again.
Usually
And
they
my
don't.
job-
Usually people are not
Right.
aware of it.
And that's another thing. I feel that accountability, period, is just self-awareness.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just awareness, a focused awareness
Right. A focus.
about, okay, so I want to be accountable for this, and you're owning that. So it's a really big eye opener, and once you open that eye, it never closes.
That reminds me of what Kelly once said, which I'll never forget. Once you see something, you cannot never see it again.
You can't unsee it. You can't unsee it.
Right?
True.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Wow.
Mhm.
And you find that people that many of your clients will go back to the traumas come up from childhood with family relationships. It's all that,
yes.
I assume. And self-esteem issues, I'm sure.
All of it. And I've had many instances where we talk about something and then we end up talking about trauma.
Sure.
Yeah, it kind of all stems from that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I was wondering,
does.
when you're working with people, do you see a negative side come out?
Of course. And
She's a Scorpio, of course.
everything.
How do you handle the negativity?
When I say, of course, I mean all of us see
Yeah.
that
Oh, yeah,
when
no, for
negativity
sure, for
sniff
sure.
comes and makes its appearance. So that's why I said not
Mhm.
exclusive.
Okay.
What was your question, Kelly? I'm sorry.
So when the negativity comes up, do you point that out in a session, or?
I asked them, well, how do you feel right now with those words? What are you feeling about this?
So you get
And
them
we
into a
have to-
feeling place.
You have to be in a feeling place in order to be aware. If you're not aware,
Yeah.
you don't even know what your feelings are, and then you're scattered. You're all over the place.
And
know?
you also
So
talk about
really-
and also, Dinavia, you talk a lot about your authentic self. So you're bringing them back to that authentic self. What feels like my authentic self, or what is not in alignment or resonant with my authentic self. It always goes back to that authentic self.
That's right. And it takes a minute to, calibrate with that and line up, because it's something that you're really not used to doing, but it's always with you. But, when do you go and call your authentic self? So
I would find it really, and Kelly, you probably too, with therapy work you do, that I would think, I don't know this, that when you call people on their stuff, however we do that, that they get resistance right away.
Mhm.
Have you guys had that? You get that, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have to know
How to get in there.
how to get into get what that key is. Yeah, because if you just, some people, it all depends, James, who the person is.
You got to work.
You have to have
very
laws. I
sensitive.
mean,
Yeah.
you might have somebody for 15 years and not be able to crack that code. Not because you can't crack the code, you know what the code is, but if you do, World War IV is going to happen. You know what I mean? So you have to be really mindful of this. I have to read this comment. This is from Tracy Salomon, and she says, this topic is really what I needed to hear. Accountability, awareness, authenticity. I need to learn more about this topic. I never thought about my own accountability regarding all the things I'm struggling with right now. Wow, Tracy. First of all, Tracy, thanks for being so
Tracy.
open with that.
Amen.
I
Thanks for
appreciate
sharing.
that.
Right on.
Helps all of us.
Good for you, Tracy. Mhm.
Yeah.
And that's an example right there.
Mhm.
Tracy is, willing to open up and recognize that. She's already dialed in,
Yeah.
very focused awareness on that, maybe because it's time, as she stated.
Yeah.
I needed to hear this right now. So these gifts do open up when we're able to. And who knows, Tracy might get triggered. by something we're saying here today, but that will open up a whole door for her, which is a beautiful door to open.
Here's another great comment here, and this is from Cynthia Robertson Forrest. She said, I do this. It's from childhood sexual and narcissistic abuse. She said, I'm a people pleaser. So I'm pretty textbook, I guess. But how do you find out who you actually are when you can't take off the mask that you created? Wow. I do not know how to be authentic. First of all, again, Cynthia, thank you for being brave and sharing.
Yes, Cynthia, thank you.
Really appreciate that. You helped a lot of people with saying that.
Yeah, many people feel that way. There's a sense of, and I'll use this may not be Cynthia's situation, but there's a certain level of shame that we walk with, possibly. And
absolutely. With childhood sexual abuse, absolutely.
Oh, yeah, and it's like you don't have a concept or understanding of that in that moment when it was happening. You're not going to have that you won't have that understanding right now as an adult. So it is really a sense of shame that cloaks you, and you are so more deserving than ever to take that off and understand who you truly are. How you function.
She says, I was shamed to death. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry.
And so I would assume, and I'm not a therapist, I don't know, but I would assume, how do you take that mask off? And you get her then Dinavia to look at her true self, not the self,
absolutely,
not the illusion she's been living up, but her true self, not that mask.
Well, and I have to say, it would start with Dinavia, with you being as who you are. You're very authentic.
Yep.
And you're kind.
Yep.
And there's a compassion there, and there's an empathy there, and there's an understanding there, and
a respect
respect of the persons of what they've gone through. So you carry that, and when you carry that, people can open up to that, and then it's like they can feel safe enough to take off the mask that they don't even know how to take off.
I'm about to cry because I feel that. Because it's so, it's so moving, because it's true. What we're all saying here, and that vibration is ringing true. So that's why, and it mentioned, this authentic practice. I have in the program, it's called authentic self practice. And developing that authentic self practice is a process, but you are doing the work to get there and unravel that yourself. And that's the power that you're tapping into, your own personal power. It's not going to come from outside. It's not going to come from a book.
And let me just say, the more that somebody does that work themselves, the stronger they feel, actually.
Absolutely.
And that's why, as a therapist, you really, I would love to just go, bah, 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 which is, I do that often, frankly. But the real powerful place is when they get to that space and they have that moment where they go, and they got it. And once they have that aha moment that's so deep, it goes into their system.
And it becomes somatic.
But like you guys are saying, we just said that when you go to that one place, it opens up that door, and that opens up another door, and another door, and then you're open to so many changes, getting back to your true self. And then you look back at that false part, you're like, wow. And I've had this with clients. I've wasted all those years not being true.
Right.
I was living other people's lives, not my people pleaser. I was not authentic. Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to what you were saying, Kelly, having someone arrive upon that themselves is so important, and it's so critical. It is the only and the most important thing to happen. And when we talk about life coaching and coaching, that person should not be dictated to, meaning the coach should not tell you anything. This is not a sporting arena. This is a listening, deep level 3 listening to what that person is saying. And when, then you ask these pointed questions, and then they answer them, and they're like, oh, it just, as you said, where is that coming from? Oh my gosh, a light bulb goes off. So it is a process, and it's a process of patience with yourself, to not rush anything, and know that, the time is coming where you will fall and come into these answers. And yes, so it is very important to have that somatic connection as well, and to know that it's coming from you.
And Dinavia, I just want to say something that Kelly mentioned too, that the person, if they're going to do the process with you, or you have such a great space you've created that they feel very safe with you.
That's right. That's right. Because if you don't have a safe capsule, first of all, you probably don't feel safe to begin with.
Right.
Right, exactly.
And you don't want to go around feeling more vulnerable than you have to, especially when you're exposing the deepest parts of yourself with someone that you really don't, maybe have not even broken bread with, a shared space with. So it's important to cultivate that safety capsule so they can let go with ease. It may not happen, the let go may not happen first or second times, but you develop this. And it's very important to know that there is a safe space for you to do that. And I take that very seriously.
Yeah. Laura Goots Crum says, trying to channel oneself is so incredibly hard when we are surrounded by a whirlwind of chaos and hordes of emotion. The one saving grace I believe is important is that we should keep ourselves accountable for the drive to love ourselves unconditionally, for then we can be accountable for our lives and all its twists and turns, as well as the ability to help and love others unconditionally.
Beautifully said.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Laura. Really
Beautiful,
great.
Laura.
Yeah. Wow.
That is right. And that the unconditional aspect, I think, is everything we do is based on a dichotomy, left, right, up, down, whatever. So we're going to look at things and always measure and balance them. So it's looking at something as it is a practice, not having an opinion about it. So that unconditional nature, that is something, once you get there, it is very freeing. And sometimes I get it. Sometimes I hit and then I come back, but it's good to feel that unconditional space. I would start with, if you have a pet, start there, because that's so unconditional. They will teach you everything about that. A great example of unconditional love that Laura was just mentioning.
Yeah.
Tammy Simon says, I've always looked at life as if we were holding on to lint balls all over our bodies, and we have to take each piece off, look at it, acknowledge it, and clean ourselves until no more lint ball attached to us. Is this the same type of thought process?
Tammy.
That's
Wow.
great. That's a good one. Very good, Tammy.
That's good stuff. Good content. Awesome.
That's however you want to see it. And yeah, I know you have different techniques of process in your program. And can you tell us a little bit the 3-step technique? Or do you want to keep that for later?
No. I mean,
Okay.
I can touch
There's a
upon
lot.
it now.
You have a lot
I think
to unpack here, so I want to hit on the things.
It's just really it's finding out the why. The
Right.
first
So
step
you came up
is,
with a 3-step program or a technique.
yes, I have a 3-step program,
Right.
and it's nothing too serious, but it's
Right.
something very accessible. So you start off with the why, and the what. Excuse me, the what. What is it that you're looking for? What is it that you need? What is it that you want to achieve? So once you have the what, then
And
you
for what
can go.
reason, right, Dinavia? For what reason do you have that? What?
Yeah,
You
exactly.
asked that? Okay.
That's part of it, because I've had many times where people come to me for one thing for accountability and end up changing midstream.
Right. Right.
So yes, to answer your question, that's exactly right. So we have the what, and then once we have that, we can go into the second step of the authentic design of something. So it's your authentic practice that you're developing, and that is experimental. So I say take it to the lab, right? You go to the lab, take it to the lab,
Right.
and you go and see what works, what resonates with you. Is it upstream? Is it downstream? And you say, okay, I like when I do this. This works for me in this regard. So you obtain this data, okay, and you get enough of that where you can actually cultivate a sense of, okay, a sturdiness, if you will, with that. And then with that energy, and feeling that's behind all of that, understanding of how you function and what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are, you are able then to incorporate that into the personal, authentic design of your own being. And that is where you resonate from, and that's where you make your choices from, your decisions from. You make it from your strong resonance of knowing, who you are through that practice of self-inquiry, so to speak.
We were just at Kelly. I'm sorry to interrupt you now, but when I was reading part of your forward, I was mentioning the same thing: things that your soul's made up, all those the authentic self.
Yes,
Exactly in
yes.
alignment to what you're saying.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really, really
So
true.
yeah,
Wow.
so it's really
I'm sure there's a
important.
lot of aha moments when people go through these steps, right? And it's like, wow. And do they want to repeat certain steps, or one whole session is one step, or it
Well, I mean that's
was different,
all
right?
design. What shows up, but there is a structure to what
Yeah.
we're doing.
Yeah.
And there is a structure because there is, again, how that person's pathology is, what they've created. They took it through the lab, so to speak, and this is what works for me. So based on that structure, we can move forward and things can change.
And
we'll
their history, I assume too, right? They look at their history from their family, their patterns, all that at the lab, right?
just as, exactly, just as long as you don't hang on to that. You're
Yeah.
willing to see it. Okay, that's great. I understand where that came from. Okay, we're gone. We try something else, and now we're going to incorporate something else into this process so we can move past that. That's a limitation.
Right.
Oh,
We
for
want to
sure,
move
Whitney.
past the limitations. So
Here's a
at
question
least,
from Renee Hounsel. She says, this is for Dinavia. How do you approach guiding someone who's actually taking accountability for something that is not actually theirs? Does that
Ooh.
unfold more through gaining self-worth?
wow,
That's a
Great
good one.
question, Renee.
Great,
wow,
Renee. Keep them coming, Renee. You're great at
wow.
these.
Yeah,
Okay,
she is.
Renee.
She really is.
I don't want to lose my train of thought here. I don't know if you can take accountability for someone else's situation. I don't know how that's possible. Firstly, without owning it yourself. If you are doing that, then you've owned that situation and you brought it into your own
You've
system.
made it your system.
Yeah, and then you're
Yeah.
not resonating. You're not
Right.
coming, you're not coming from a true resonance of who you are because you didn't invent this. It didn't come from you. You're living someone else's life. Yeah.
Someone that happens a lot was a parent who was a child, and they said,
Right?
if I only did this,
Oh,
they wouldn't have died. So
Oh,
they
yeah.
have an
that's
account. They feel they have accountability
ooh,
to the child, and children never come through saying it's your fault ever.
Ever.
But as a parent, sometimes they take that on. They feel accountable for the death of the child, and that's wrong. But
it's not wrong. It's a natural. I would say it's a natural feeling. That to feel that guilt
The
of
guilt.
something like what could I be doing? What could I do differently to prevent that? And we don't have that power.
Yeah, and it
We
goes
don't
back
have
to
that
what
power to
you're saying.
prevent.
It goes back to the authentic self. So it goes back to, this is not who I am. This is what I want to believe, but that's not who I am.
That's right.
I
That's not who I am.
couldn't control this. Yeah.
And the unconditional love of that child that you had or have in your heart, whatever, that is the focus.
Yeah.
Now that becomes the focus. The accountability can now shift to the love that I have for my child. That is no longer here.
I would like to read this about Gina Ruda, who says, Dinavia is the best. She helped me so much. I can never forget all I've learned from her. I second that.
Gina.
I am forever changed because of working with her. She's the real deal. Love you, Dinavia, always. And
Love you too, Gina.
Yeah, Dinavia is the real deal.
Amen.
You are.
Thank you, Gina. Gina was one of those folks who absolutely went in and uncloaked, saw her cloak, and
Wow. That's
that
amazing.
was
I like that.
transformational.
I love that expression too. Came in with the cloak, and because people do wear cloaks.
Yeah, and it was so liberating. And
It's so
what a gift that I
liberating.
get.
Yeah.
I mean, I got the gift too because
Oh,
I got to
absolutely, you do.
experience it from her, and I loved every moment of that, feeling someone's liberation show up.
Oh my gosh. Anne Margaret asks, what
That's on.
areas of people's lives do you work in? Love,
That's a good
work,
question.
inner peace, changing careers, family?
Oh, is that
That's
All
for
of
you.
it, yeah.
Yes, for you. Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, which area do you work with people?
All of
the
it,
above.
probably. Yeah.
All of the above. All of the above. Just as long as I have a beautiful person in front of me, we can do anything together. We can do anything on any subject, especially when it comes up to love or everyday life with work, and inner peace, which we're trying to achieve, changing careers, normal day life. We're all very experienced with that. And that is something that when you put that awareness into that awareness, that focused awareness, you will come up with so many answers as to why things are happening in these certain areas of your life or why they're not happening. So I'm there just to anchor that momentum for you so you can go ahead and find out your journey.
I have a question for you, which I think
Sure.
is interesting. I don't know.
Okay.
How often do you find that when you have clients that sometimes it comes up that they have to forgive somebody, that they got to do this work?
Oh,
I would think that might be
Great
a
question.
major one, but I don't know. Does that come up often about forgiveness?
not often, but I have had, occasions where people have had resentment.
Resentment. Yeah.
And that resentment was usually pointed at a person,
Yeah.
and that kept them stuck essentially
It
in
does.
that time frame, in that period where this happened. And guess what? Their whole life becomes a frustration
Yeah.
because of it.
Right. Affects every area.
That energy spills over into other areas of their lives. And yeah, so getting past the resentment of things and recognizing why you feel the resentment
Mm,
is important.
yeah.
The why.
Yeah.
And why and how and why you're responding to it in certain ways that you are. What is your pathology around that? And then once you start to uncover what's going on within you, because it's really not the person, that other person, it's how you are receiving that information and that data that's being given to you, or that you're experiencing rather. So it's very important to see how that's showing up in you and what responses you're giving it, and then making changes to shift yourself into a different area and frequency.
Robin Kirby says the root of why you're feeling it, not what triggered it right now.
Amen.
Yeah.
Period. As
Yeah.
I would say, period.
Yeah. Period. You bet. Exactly right. Wow.
Right on,
I
Robin.
have to say, I think was a very good comment. This is from Trisha Ford. Trisha, I'm sorry about this, but she said, I just lost my cat today. She passed. And I feel like if I hadn't been so focused on my special needs dog, I wouldn't have missed my poor kitty's decline. Well, I find it interesting because right before we got on, your cat, Dinavia, tried to get in, busted into your room.
Yes.
Right before we
Yes.
got online, everybody. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So it really got my attention when I saw that.
Thank you very much. And that is true. My cat found a way to get through, but
It busted it
what's
in.
really busted in. But the most important thing here is that Trisha, I have two cats. One is 18 and one is 16. My 16-year-old is not doing well. His leg stopped working. And I don't know what happened. And all of a sudden I see my cat dragging himself around. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do that I couldn't see? Just like, why didn't I recognize this? And I felt guilty, and, then sprung into action very quickly. But I couldn't prevent something like that. It showed up. All of a sudden, I'm going to insert myself in there as if I'm the problem, because that's what we do.
That's that human reaction. Yes.
Right?
Very human.
Well,
yeah.
I would think with Trisha, I mean, I have to say, I would think that the cat realized that you have a lot, the dog needs a lot more attention.
I agree.
I mean, I remember when I went to grad school and my dog died because I couldn't take my dog to grad school with me. And it was the wildest thing.
Oh.
Yeah. So it was wild how that works.
Yeah. And just try not to feel like any of this was your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that the spirit world will often say is, please don't beat yourself up.
Oh, gosh, James, so true.
That's beautiful. That's it.
Really true. No, it takes a lot for us to come down to school, this earth school.
Yeah.
There's a lot. It's a hard place here, as we all know. And we got to give ourselves a pat in the back that, we came here and we're trying it. We're doing the best we can. And that's all that's ever expected of us, to do the best you can. Don't hurt anyone. Demonstrate love anywhere you can, not only outside you, but within inside yourself too. Yeah.
And all she showed her cat and her animals was love anyway, Trisha. Remember that.
That's
you
true.
showed them so much love. So much love.
That's true.
Think about that. Because I will have to very soon. My cats are probably going soon. So I will think about that as well. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Wow.
Okay, here. Okay, Teresa Miller says, can you please explain the cloak? Is the cloak the same as a mask? Yes.
Okay.
The
Yes.
same thing. Yeah.
Yes. I just use cloak because I like the imagery of it.
I
and
do
just
too.
coming off like, hey.
I like that too.
Yeah.
And sometimes people will have layers of cloaks to take off.
Yeah.
Well, another way of using a cloak, which I was taught by, I'm not going to name the person, Kelly, you know who this person is. Everyone, yes. Won't speak of his name.
Unnamed.
Unnamed.
Yeah.
But it really worked. When I was doing the show, The Ghost Whisperer, and I had to go up to a Christmas party up to Los Angeles. And I just gotten out of the hospital. I was there for a blood trend. Something happened. And I wasn't feeling, I was back to normal, but I didn't really want to see people because I wasn't really up to socializing. But being the executive producer, I had to go to this thing. So I was in a restaurant and, oh God, how can I do it? And a friend at the time said to me, cloak yourself. I said, cloak myself? Yes, just like in Harry Potter, they put a cloak so no one can see you.
Yeah.
So I did that before I went there. And Jennifer Lovewood said, James said, hi. She goes, how you doing? I said, I'm good. She goes, do you want to sit in my chair, in my booth over there? I'm not going to be using it. I said, thanks. And I sat in this booth. No one came up. There had some people there that I knew, but that was it. And I was cloaked and no one came near me. It was so I do that a lot. I'll cloak myself and go into some place and people don't see me, or it works.
It works.
I've done that at Target with you, Dinavia. We take our cloaks off and people come up and say, you two are so fun.
You're so fun.
You have so much fun at
Yes.
Target. I said, we do.
Yeah,
we have fun wherever we go.
That's the energy that's free flowing. How much fun. Kelly, you'll have to join us.
Well, if I had a Target around here, I'd just be so happy. I don't have Targets around here.
Come on down.
I will.
Come on down.
And Dinavia, you also have like a lot of, different processes and ways you get involved, techniques and ways to step in. Would you mind maybe giving us a short example of like some kind of a process that you would do for accountability?
I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I would love to do that.
Whatever you want to pull from your tool chest, because there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah. So I mean, I just this process, I think that I will use with you guys or share with you guys. I think this is just an introduction as to how the energy would possibly work if we work together, or if how I work with people with that. So
it's like when you first meet somebody, maybe this might be an example of a process you would do.
Well, this is probably as we go forward in our sessions. Yeah, and if it's appropriate to use it, but I want to show you it's more of a visceral is what I'm wanting to share and convey with you right now as to how this process it sort of works, because it has something to do with the reticular system. And so if you guys are ready, would you like to
ready. Let's go
try? Wonderful. So just know we mentioned safe space before, that this is a safe space. And when you enter into it, you will be secure, and it is an absolute secure and safe capsule for you, because you'll be meeting yourself. So with that being said, please take a moment and close your eyes. All right, and take a nice deep breath in and relax, let it out. One more, take your deep breath in. And relax. In your mind's eye, you will see 3 circles, color red, green, and purple. I would like you to step onto the red circle. Think of a moment when you felt really sure of yourself, empowered by your own doing, self-assuredness, feeling accomplished. Okay. Dial into that feeling. And now what I'd like you to do is take your index and thumb and place them together. Think about that empowered feeling and think about the color red. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Release the fingers. Keep your eyes closed, with your eyes closed still. Walk over to the green circle. Now, with awareness, take the feeling that you just experienced and locked in and apply it to something in your life that you would like to change, or something that is in need of that energy right now in your life, or even a previous experience. Apply that feeling to that scenario. Just feel. Take your middle finger and thumb finger and place them together. Dial into that feeling. Think of the color green. Take a deep breath in. Release and release the fingers. Now see yourself walking over to the purple circle and standing on that. And notice, see and notice the outcome of that applied feeling that you just put onto a situation or something that you'd like to change. See the outcome. Feel the outcome. How does that show up for you? What is it evoking? What is it presenting for you in that outcome? Now, take your ring finger and your thumb finger and place them together. Think of the outcome and that abundant feeling, or whatever that was for you. Think of the color purple. Take a deep breath in and release the fingers. Oh, very good. Just feel. Okay, gently open your eyes. And what we did there was we created a visceral connection that we could actually activate at any point in time because we locked it in with our reticular activation system. So by placing your fingers together and associating that, the feelings with the colors, we now activated those feelings within your body, with somatically and viscerally and visually in your body. So whenever you need to feel that sense of empowerment, that feeling of self-assuredness, or the outcome, whatever that outcome feeling was for you, whatever that generated for you, you can activate that simply by ring finger, index, and middle, and thinking about green, red, green, and purple. So that's just an idea of how we can do something from a neuro-linguistic programming aspect of what I do as well, that I incorporate into that. So that's just a really cool exercise to activate your reticular system. It's like if you're in the airport, right? You know what your flight number is. You know what gate you're at. And then all the sound is going on, and you're involved in other things. Then all of a sudden you hear something over the loudspeaker, but you're able to hear your flight number, right? Yeah. Because your activation, your reticular system is aware of that, right?
That's so true. Yeah.
So
that was very good. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it was a little quick, but
no, it was. Cheryl. Cheryl Melman says, "Fabulous, feeling positive and happy after that exercise."
Amen.
I felt like letting certain things let go when I was certain things were let go, and the purple for me was like I was home again. I felt like I was back home. I felt like that, and I felt right. And
that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, with these we're accessing feelings and things that have been within us for such a long time and bringing them to the surface and unraveling them, or just unearthing them rather. And that's where all your answers are dwelling within. Everything is in here. So.
And I would talk about patterns, but the word that came up to me, which is probably the same thing, themes, repeating the same themes. I find I'm repeating the same themes in this lifetime. We repeat the same themes. It's like you not have to repeat those themes.
Yeah.
Here's a nice comment for you, James. Musicians matter. He says, James, thanks for being a paranormal pioneer for this world and paving the way out of the crazy closet for all of us out there with invisible spirit friends we talk to and hear from while others call us crazy.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. You're very welcome. My honor. Yeah. Wow. That was good. Wow. I'm still like.
Yeah.
I am too. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Gail Jean says that was really great. She says the red base, the green heart, and the purple, the highest crown. I mean, I was thinking red is the first chakra, green is the heart chakra, and purple is
That's
the
why I
chakra.
chose those colors.
Oh, is that why? It was fabulous. Yes. Fabulous.
Yes.
And red for me, at first I felt rage. I felt anger at first.
Okay.
You did.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be someone's, go back to a time where someone was mad or angry at you, and that's that's where I first went to. That was
and then we went over to what is something where you felt empowered. So
yeah, and that's when I
was like a flip.
That is what we call a reframe. You reframed it, James. Reframe. I'm very impressed.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So to get to you, people want to know how to get to you. Shift to Awaken is the website, right?
Yeah. Shift2awaken.com.
SH2 awaken.com.
That's right. Yes.
Okay. And yet, just put your email down, sweetheart, and you'll just get back to everybody. Is that what happens?
Well, they'll go into the contact page. You just go to the website and go to contact and put your, whatever you want to say hi to me or whatever you'd like to do, and then I'll get back to you for sure.
Great. And James, you're doing an evening of spirit messages
this Friday.
Oh,
this Friday at 4 p.m. Pacific time.
Right at the beginning of eclipse season. So
it ought to be amazing.
It'll be amazing, I'll tell you.
Well, actually, in 2 weeks, James, you and I are doing a show 2 weeks from tonight on the eclipse, on the first eclipse.
So the show will be about the
So is that April 8th? Is that April 8th?
The first one is March 25th.
March 25th. Oh, excuse me. That's right. Yeah. March 25th. Right.
Yeah. What? Yeah. What the
key dates?
Yeah.
About the eclipse.
I think we should. I think we should. Okay. Wow. Laurel Davis said, "Excellent. Worked for me. Innovative, confidence, and safety. I met a guide at purple. Thank you."
Yeah. I love that purple color. I don't know, Kelly. Did you like the purple the most, or did you like green, or you like the red? What was there one you resonated more toward?
You're not going to believe this. The red.
Red.
Wow. Which I never would resonate with a red, ever. But for whatever reason, it was very empowering.
Well, that's strength, too. That's strength.
Yeah, I felt very empowered. I loved it.
And you're very grounded, Kelly, too. So it's also grounded.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. For sure.
I am grounded.
You are.
And if you don't believe me, look at the farm.
Except driving, you're fine.
I'm getting a new car, too. That would be fun. Oh, my gosh. Robin Kirby says, I was expecting red for anger, green for healing, and purple for spiritual. So a reframe is definitely welcome for red. It's true. And by the way, anger motivates us. Even if you did experience it, it's motivating.
Oh, it's also it's a reminder of forgiveness, too.
Right.
That I've forgiven the person or forgiven myself.
Laura Crum says, red is my favorite color, so I felt an empowerment feeling. Good.
It's a strength.
That's so great. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Very good.
Thank you, Dinavia. Thanks so much for sharing.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Oh, I'm so glad you were on tonight.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, James. And thank you for everyone who shared their words with us. Those are so wonderful. Thank you all.
Renee. Yep.
Thanks,
you,
Renee. Happy birthday, Renee.
Happy birthday, Renee.
Oh, yeah.
Birthday. Okay, we'll see you guys later.
See you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kelly White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
and maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.